Yo, what is going on, you guys? So today I'm bringing guys a brand new sports cards video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the big changes that I am seeing in the sports card hobby. And essentially, I'm warning you guys, a lot of times when people are failing to adapt to the new market circumstances and stuck on trends from years ago, you can really lose in this market. And I know this market is a place where there's a lot of volatility essentially. If you get something right, if you spot a trend in advance, you can make a lot of money. And if you stay on a trend from the past, you can lose a lot of money. So I'm going to be showing you guys essentially, where I believe the market's going, where I believe people are trending away from, and where I believe people are trending to. But before we get into that, I did want to say, as you guys know, we are giving away a Darius Garland Prism rookie card in today's video. We have one left. We started off with 19. We have given away 18 already. So this last one is going to go to one lucky person who subscribes, comments the word done, and likes this video. So be sure to do those 3 simple steps for a free chance at a $50 card. But without further ado, we are going to hop right into this video. So essentially, I'm starting to see a big trend going on in this market. Now, of course, we are in a recession, so a lot of these trends could be recession-based. But I do believe this is more of consumer behavior as opposed to just overall, recession-based theories. So essentially, what I'm seeing right now is a lot of people trending away from Prism, Optic, and Select. I know it's tough to say. I know that old Prism and old, I would say if you're going for Prism, Optic, and Select from the recent 3 to 4 years, I don't believe that's going to be the trend for very much longer. And there's definitely a few reasons why. Of course, I did make a video on this very recently about the absurd amount of parallels and numbered cards that are coming out of all these sets that has just simply not made them as rare as a lot of people thought they were. And I think that's really starting to hurt the brands of Prism, Optic, and Select, at least in terms of pricing. And where I'm seeing the market going is more towards flawless national treasures and more ultra rare sets that are not releasing a million different parallels. So as you guys know, Select has been really taking a hit recently. I've mentioned this briefly in my last video, but Select has really lost a lot of its value. I know a lot of people in this hobby were really high on Select, and even I was back in the day, but as their numbers have just continued to rise, there's not been enough demand to meet those numbers. For example, the amount of parallels they're releasing, and of course, Prism has been doing the same thing, right? You have the ices, you have blue ice, purple ice, orange ice, red ice, then you have base red, then you have base orange, base blue, base purple. There's just way too many parallels that are going on. You have pulsars. You have all sorts of different numbered cards, and that's just not even to get into the other parallels that they're releasing, like red, white, and blue. Of course, green is, pretty prominent. So there's just way too many parallels that are coming out, and the print runs on these parallels are way too high for demand right now, at least as of now. And I think that's really leading to the downfall of Prism, Optic, and Select. I'm not saying in the long term they're not going to be relevant. I still think there's going to be some relevance in Prism especially. But I do think Optic and Select are kind of on the verge of they've got to really innovate and make a product that people really love and lower the print runs, or it's going to be tough for them, at least in this current sports card market. I know I'm a little bit ahead of, I would say, a lot of the market sentiment right now. I think a lot of people are still buying into Prism numbers, Optic numbers, Select numbers. But I do think in the future, there's going to be a drop in those prices. And we're already starting to see it happen. I mentioned in my last video, but Anthony Edwards Purple Prism was selling for $2,100 literally a month and a half ago, and it's down to $600. And that is numbered, I believe, 99. So that is a very rare, parallel, but it's still really losing a lot of value. And I'm seeing this across the board for a lot of different players. I am seeing a big consumer change and a lot of people going towards older year Prisms. I've seen countless people at shows especially asking for 2012 to 2015 Prism because I do think that's going to hold a lot more significance in the long term just because there were not many parallels at all. Especially if you look at Giannis's year, it's pretty much like green, red, white, blue, base, silver, and then the ultra rare numbers and the die cuts. But there's not too many at all, and there was no optic, there was no mosaic, there was not all of these other sets that kind of push the values down because there's too many options for buyers for recent years. But if you're going for 2012 to 2015, I think you're really safe in that Prism stuff. I think that's where people are going to go to if they're investing in, for example, Anthony Davis or Kawhi Leonard or Giannis or Devin Booker or Joel Embiid. They're going to go for Prism. But if you're looking for Luka, if you're looking for anything 2017 to present, I think a lot of the consumer demand is going towards National Treasures, Flawless, Immaculate, and different more rare sets that have kept true to their word, essentially, with the rarities of their cards. I believe National Treasures is going to be bound for a big run-up. We are already starting to see it happen. For example, Anthony Davis, who's had some great games recently, his National Treasures is up roughly 30 to 40% in the span of a few weeks, whereas Prisms are not quite there yet. They're not really rising at the same prices, and they're in fact kind of staying stagnant. So it's really tough to kind of, be convinced to invest more into Prism, Optic, and Select at the present moment. I'm not saying that's never going to change, but I think as of now, especially when you're looking to sell cards, I've been moving my National Treasures like this. Select, Optic, and Prism especially have not been moving as fast. So I think that's really a trend for a lot of people to look after. I know it may not last forever. It may be kind of tied to the recession, but I truly don't think so. I think it's a big change in consumer demand where people are starting to finally open their eyes and think to themselves, like, how many different parallels is Prism coming out with? If I'm looking for my card to go up and these buyers have 100 different options of numbered cards they could go for, how is there going to be as much demand on my cards? Whereas National Treasures, that investors are going to go towards, the 99s or the 10s or the 25s. So there's not too many different options for investors to buy in National Treasures and Flawless and Immaculate. Whereas for investors looking at Prism cards, there's a million different options. So I think this is the biggest trend that I'm spotting in the market right now. I think over the course of the next few months to few years, we're going to see Flawless, National Treasures, and Immaculate really pay off, in my opinion. And we're going to see Prism, Optic, and Select continue to struggle, at least as of now, until maybe in the future, when they release new products, they start to get things together and make things a little bit more scarce again. But in 2020 and 2021, I believe they could have got away with it when there was so much demand around these cards where people were just throwing money at any parallel they could find. But as soon as demand starts to wear off a little bit, we enter a recession, the overall economy suffering, there's just not as much demand to meet all these different cards that are coming out. And on top of that, the million different sets that are coming out in the lower end that has really hurt a lot of lower end cards. A lot of cards have gone from $130 to, $15, $20. And simply put, investors are not really feeling safe in these lower end sets anymore. I think a lot of the demand is going towards Flawless, National Treasures, and Immaculate. And I think it's going to stay that way for the coming few months at least. I would say until the market really starts to pick back up and people really start to throw a lot of money back into the sports card market. I think until then, we're going to only see Flawless, National Treasures, and Immaculate hold up, and other higher end sets, of course. I'm just using these as prime examples because they're most commonly known. But when I say Prism, Optic, Mosaic, Select, I'm meaning pretty much all the lower end sets, hoops included, all those different sets included. I think they're all going to see a big layoff, especially in wax prices. I think there was too much wax that came out, and there's just not enough demand, and we're seeing it happen already. I could make videos about this all day, but we're already seeing this happen. So I don't think it's that speculative. I think we already have enough evidence to kind of be able to, I can at least pretty firmly say I see this is what's happening. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Once again, if you would like to enter in to win a Darius Garland Prism PSA 10, make sure to like this video, subscribe, comment the word done. A little bit ironic how I'm talking about a Prism base as I'm talking about how people are going away from them. But, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed, and I'm out. Peace.